Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Front Page, a show for the 2023 semester here at Cayuga Community College, for a show that's put on Spectrum, Verizon Fios, as well as ARMA, the Auburn Regional Media Access, and Win 89.1, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. We are delighted to have in the studio today the new, I say that with quotes, Executive Director of the Cayuga County Chamber of Commerce, Amy Fuller. I say that because she has been with the Chamber for many, many years, but they finally put her in charge, which I think she always was, but that's a different story. As well as Jessica Wrench, who's been here on several occasions, who is the Chamber's Education and Resource Coordinator and runs the infamous and popular Leadership Cayuga Program. Both familiar faces. We're delighted to have you here to talk about the Chamber, some things that are coming up, what the Chamber's doing, and some changes that you've made here. But welcome, both of you, to joining us on Thank you. So for those who may not know, their heads in the sand, the Chamber is a not-for-profit, correct?
Yes.
You're a membership organization?
Yes.
How many members do you have?
About 400.
And what's the average, if there is an average, Chamber member?
There's not really an average. I mean, we do have a lot of, if I was to say, we do have a lot of financial institutions, banks, those type of things. But really, we have a pretty good variety of different members. We have the small businesses.
So sole proprietorships
right.
to a new core.
Right, exactly. Courier, so we have a lot. Del Lago in Seneca County is a member. We have some members over.
So why would Del Lago be a member of the Cayuga County Chamber of Commerce?
Usually when a organization or business is from out of the county and joins the local chamber, in my mind, it's because they're looking to tap into that area. They're looking to get people to come over.
Come over there.
Yeah.
So what's it cost to join the chamber?
We have a variety of membership levels. The basic level is $300. That's for a calendar year. Gets you on our chamber website. Gets you, a number of things, get you to the educational seminars that are at no cost for chamber members. Gets on our email blast so you know what's going on. And then we go all the way up to 6,500 is our diamond level, which we have some banks and some other, larger members that have that because you get seats at events.
And your sponsors.
And sponsors, you get advertising and all of that.
And sometimes organizations like the college just do it because they want to support the Chamber of Commerce.
Right. And we changed up the memberships back in 2012. We made those bigger memberships because, like some of our banks that go to all the events, they were like, we're writing 40 checks to the chamber a year. How can we do something different?
Just do one.
So we rolled everything into one.
So before getting to where you are and what you're doing, I said this in the summer of last year. You had been with the chamber how long?
Last summer, I was 16 years with the chamber. And
how did you start there?
I started back in 2006 as the finance coordinator, back when the chamber was in the old phone company on South Street next to City Hall.
Terry Breidenbecker was the executive director
and
at
Jenny
that point.
Kent was the head of the leadership program.
I know Jenny Kent.
Yeah.
And we're not going to pick on Jenny Kent because she's a city councilor now.
I know.
You've heard?
Yeah,
okay,
I heard about it.
So you served in a number of positions at the chamber. But the chamber executive directorship came up a number of times and you said no. So why did you say yes?
Well, I never really said no. I just didn't put my name in the ring,
But you were the choice.
I know. People always said, you're the kind of the face of the chamber.
Right.
And it's just really because my position, I was finance coordinator. And then when we moved over to State Street, we changed some things up a little bit, and I became the chamber manager and was mainly in charge of events and membership, which I already was doing, but that was my main focus now. The finance side of it went to a third-party accountant.
And some things have changed, and we'll get to that with CETA, the Cayuga Economic Development Agency.
Right.
But back in last summer, you decided that you would accept the position when it became vacant?
Well, what happened is for a while, the director of the chamber was combined with the director of Cayuga Economic Development. So when they did combine that, and that was back when Andrew Fish was with the chamber. And once they...
About a decade ago.
And then when Andrew left, Tracy moved up into that position. And I just felt that my due diligence was on the chamber side of things, that I really didn't have the expertise and the knowledge to help CETA move along. I know what they do, but I'm not really involved in that side of it. I'm more the, chamber membership. Let's help your business. Let's have some events. The funner stuff, yes.
And so 17 years this year.
This June, yes.
And tomorrow, how long have you been with the chamber?
5 years.
And run the
Leadership Cayuga Program.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But let's kind of make this linear. So you mentioned the move from South Street to 2 State, which is owned by the chamber.
The Chamber Foundation.
Chamber Foundation. And what's at 2 State Street now? Because it's changed a little bit from, let's say, 5 years ago.
It has. It has. Right now, at 2 State Street, on the first floor when you walk in is the Chamber of Commerce, which is made up of Jessica, myself, and Christina Morris, who's our new communications coordinator. We also have a health navigator who rents an office through CAP. So she's there to help people with health insurance if they need it. On the second floor is United Way of Cayuga County. And right now they are a staff of 4.
And they're relatively new to the building in the last year and a half.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then the third floor is primarily the Cayuga Economic Development Agency, better known as CETA. And right now they have a staff of 4, soon to be 5. That's now Michael Miller is the executive director of that. He started back in September. And
he'll be with us, I think, next week or the week after. So,
right.
So and we'll talk more with him about changes there, but Cayuga Economic Development Agency is now a tenant versus...
They've always paid rent to the chamber after the
foundation.
You
were kind of combined, though, weren't you?
We were, and we still do help each other with certain things. I mean, there's some, Paul Vigiano, who's head of the small business, and Maureen Reister, who's been with, CETA for a while. Whenever they're out visiting a business, if it makes sense to introduce them to me to join the chamber, they introduce me. If I'm talking to a member and they're looking to expand or they're looking for a bigger building.
So that synergy is still there.
It's still
as a one-stop.
Right. It's still there. So, if there's needs that they have that I can help them with or vice versa, we do have those conversations and talk to those individuals.
So March is usually the time, I know we're on the last day of February, but March is usually the time where you do your State of the City and State of the County, which used to be large luncheons that were usually held at the Holiday Inn. And then you expanded that within the last couple of years to include the State of the Schools component. Are you still doing that?
We are. Through COVID, when we had the state ofs, as we call them, we did them via Zoom. We did have a component with the schools. We're going to continue that. We did make a change this year. The State of the City and County, instead of a luncheon, is going to be a morning event. We're kind of calling it Coffee Conversation. It's going to be at Auburn Public Theater. The doors open at 8 o'clock. And then Cafe 108 is going to provide coffee, tea, and some light breakfast refreshments. Depending on the attendance or the pre-registration, we're either going to be in the cinema. If we outgrow that, we're going to be in the main stage to have the presentations. And they'll start at 8:30 and go till about 9:30 with Q&A after, and then we'll have a little networking after if people want to hang around.
So originally when the chamber first started many years ago, it was one speaker, it was a mayor.
Right.
It was always oddly enough held at the Springside outside the city of Auburn, which is its own issue in itself, but it then expanded to the mayor and the chairman of the legislature, then the chairman of the legislature, and when there was a county administrator, and the city manager. Who do you have planned? So let's talk about State of the City and County first. When is that?
It's going to be Thursday, March 23rd.
Okay, so about 3 weeks from now.
Right, doors open at 8, and the speakers will be for the city, will be Mayor Michael Quill, and then the city manager, Jeff Dygert.
Okay.
And then the presentation by the county will be by legislator David Gould.
Who's the chairman of the legislature?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so that is live and in person. So the days of used to get 200 plus people in the Holiday Inn for these. So will you ever go back to that type of luncheon, do you think?
We're just switching it up a little bit just to see if people, I know from being at that event numerous times, I mean, it would start out to be a large crowd. And then as the presentations would go, you'd start to hear people start to leave because it got a little long. So, when I was talking with our member services that's made up of some of my chamber board members, we were thinking, let's try it as a morning event and just go right into the presentations so that the information gets out there. And let's see how it's received that way. And then we're going to do the State of the Schools the next day as a virtual event.
Now that has different individuals. Who's presenting for that one?
That one will be Jeff Parazola from the Auburn Enlarged City School District. It will be Dr. Brian Durant for Cayuga Community College. It's going to be from Wells College.
Is it Dr. Gibraltar or someone
No,
else?
there's someone else because he wasn't available. So I apologize. Her name
And
is
then from
escaping me.
BOCES?
BOCES, it'll be Brian.
Wow.
Yes.
So do you have to be a chamber member to attend?
Absolutely not. We have the registration is open. If you go to CayugaCountyChamber.com/events, you can go right to that event. If you're a non-chamber member, it's $25 for the state of the city and county. If you're a chamber member, it's $20. For the state of the schools, there is no fee for that, but you do need to register to get the link.
So, and if you're going to the state of the county and state of the city, I don't mean that this is an incentive. Are the Cafe 108 coffee and desserts for free? Are they included in your fee?
They're included in your fee.
Okay.
And the sponsors of both of the state ofs, or all of the state ofs, is 2+4 Property Management. They've been a longtime sponsor before COVID, during COVID, and that partnership is continuing.
And any idea how many people attended online? I think I attended online last year.
I think and that's what we did when we looked at. I think it was like 40 to 50 people. So that's when I talked to Janie at Auburn Public Theater. If we get under 65, we'll be in the cinema side. If we get over 65, we get the main stage, which can hold a larger number.
And so that's what's coming up. And you have formulated this almost to every other month for events. And I know Mr. Miller will talk about the Economic Forecast Luncheon, which is an event which is at the end of the month. And we'll talk about that with him next week. But what you then have next is your normal annual awards. Am I correct?
You are correct. And actually, the awards nominations are going to open this week. There's several categories. There's 2 small business categories, a new small business and an existing small business. There's the business leader, which is a larger employer. There is a nonprofit of the year. We give out the Terry Breidenbecker Young Professionals Award, the Community Leadership Award, and then we do the...
and that's a Leadership Cayuga oriented award.
Correct. You have to be a leadership alumni for that one. And then we combined the Phyllis Goldman Encouragement Award with that. And whoever is selected for that award is the keynote of the luncheon. And that luncheon will be May 11th.
And do you have a speaker already?
That'll be whoever the Phyllis Goldman winner is.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Do you have another speaker? Because I know in the past you've had some other speakers present.
No, we've changed it up a little bit. We just focus on the, I usually do some opening remarks and things, and then the speaker kind of tells how they got to where they are.
And to be nominated, do you have to be a chamber member?
You do. You do for all except for Community Leadership Awards. You have to be an alumni. In the Phyllis Goldman Encouragement Award, you don't have to be a chamber member, but I'll make you be one after. But you do have to be a women-owned business.
There are a lot of dark spaces over at the Springside Inn.
Yeah,
so
a lot of places I can slip that application.
So I want to ask about this. So Phyllis Goldman Encouragement Award usually was for a woman business leader. Is it no longer?
No, it still is. It still is. It used to be a separate luncheon.
Oh, okay.
Which we don't do
Oh,
that
it's still
anymore.
2 different awards.
Yes.
So the Leadership Award is one award. The Phyllis, so it's not combined that way.
It's not combined.
And who's won some of these awards in the past?
The Phyllis Goldman Encouragement Award recently, we've had, we've had Sue Reardon, who owns Reardon Realty. We've had Cindy.
She did a wonderful presentation.
Cindy Booley, who is owner of Aversa Agency. We've had Melody Johnson from Divine Coverings and Melodies.
And how about some of the other awards besides Phyllis Goldman?
Let's see, you're testing my memory.
Well,
here.
for businesses.
For businesses, last year, for instance, Cafe 108 was the new small business.
Okay.
We had Yager Brook Catering, Gary Cunningham, who was the other small business, the business leader.
So is there a set criteria other than, or are they general criteria, like you have to be above so many employees or below so many?
The small business is under 50 employees. The large business is over 50 employees, and then the nonprofit, of course, speaks for itself.
So when you do the opening the awards, is that an online application that you fill out?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
It's
then
not a book of the month club selection.
No. We have a
Okay.
lot of people. You can nominate yourself. You can nominate a business that you deal with. Then we just confirm that the ones that you have to be a chamber member, we confirm that they are. And then once we get the pool of candidates, that goes to my member services, and they need to go through all the applications, select the winners, and then we do a formal announcement, a press release.
When will you usually announce that?
Probably, we usually leave them open till, in this case, we're going to open them this week, probably till the end of March, and then we'll make the announcement sometime in early April, and then open up registration for the luncheon, which is May 11th.
So is this award picked by staff, or do you have a committee of chamber members?
The Member Services Committee, which is made up of 6 of my board members.
Okay. How large is your board?
It's 19 right now.
And event will be at Springside again, and there is a charge for that event.
There is a charge. We're working with Springside now on the menu. Once we have that, that'll all be included on our events page with the registration. We are looking for sponsors for that event too. We're starting to change up our sponsor structure a little bit, so we'll be rolling that out sometime this month as well, or next month, I should say.
So you mentioned the Leadership Award, Leadership Cayuga, which you were best known for because that's your bailiwick. So how large a class do you have? First of all, if somebody just came here from out of town, because there are a lot of people who come to Leadership Cayuga because of that, what is Leadership Cayuga?
So Leadership Cayuga is a 9-month program where we bring adults through the community with the intent that they become leaders in our community after the program is done. We introduce them to community leaders, people like the mayor or Jeff Rizzolo, of the superintendents. They really get to know people and issues that are going on in the community, as well as all of the amazing people that are working to move things forward.
So over a 9-month period, they meet how many times?
Once a month.
Full day?
Yes, a full day. Yep.
And so I know you have a program this Thursday with one of my friends.
Yes.
So tell me what Thursday's plan is.
Sure. So we'll gather together. The class has a speaking requirement, so they'll do their speeches, and we'll go right into like a class program where we'll be talking about board service and what that means, and then how to actually be on a board. So we'll do some class interaction.
So who's doing that section?
I will be manning that one.
And then you're also going to cover philanthropy.
Yep, we'll be talking about philanthropy.
Dan Pheasant, the Fred L. Emerson.
Yes.
And he's done this for many, many years.
Oh, yes. Okay. He is well versed.
So Jeff Perizzola will come in time. Yeah. I know you do these at different sites, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So we try to move people around not only Auburn, but the county. So our first class this year was down in Moravia at UPSCO. And then we'll be at the Inns of Aurora this current session. We'll be at the Hilton Garden Inn. We'll go to Bosie's. We'll go kind of anywhere that, the City Hall.
So of those sessions, you also do a bus tour?
Yes.
And so where does the bus tour go? This magical mystery tour that you do for a day.
I like that name, yes. We start in Auburn, we go all the way south, and then we go all the way north, and then we come back to Auburn. So we'll hit places like the Howland Stone Store Museum. We'll sometimes go to the Inns of Aurora. We'll go to St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in Moravia because of these beautiful wood carvings that you never know were there. We'll stop at the Sterling Nature Center. There's a great cookie place up in Fairhaven.
Really? There's a cookie place up there?
There is.
Okay.
It's a fly-by-night thing.
It is, actually.
Fly-by-night cookies, no pun intended.
It's quite the highlight.
It is the highlight.
Yeah.
So you said adults, but in the past you have had students. You do try to attract 1 or 2 students per year?
Absolutely.
Which is tough.
It is tough between the schedule and everything, but it has been doable for some of our high school students, and they've brought some great perspective into the class. So you should be a high school senior, able to transport yourself, but we can handle that if not. And we've had students from Auburn High, Union Springs, some of our surrounding towns as well. So it's open to any high school student.
And who pays the freight on a student? Is that by the school district or by the chamber, or do the students have to pay?
We often have a scholarship for them available, so they don't have to
So
pay.
how much does it cost to participate in Leadership Cayuga?
It is currently $1,300. We give a discount if you're a chamber member, and there's also a discount if you get your application in early.
And when do you start accepting applications?
I would take an application now, but we typically open it usually May or June.
And in the current class, you have a larger class than usual.
We
over
do.
the last couple of years because of COVID and everything else. How large is your class now?
We have 19 people, and it's really great. It leads to some great conversation.
And those 19 cover everything from not-for-profits to government to education across the spectrum.
Yes, we actually have three people from education this year. One is a teacher at the Auburn School District, which is great to have her perspective. We've got small business owners, individuals, like you said, nonprofits, human services. It really runs the gamut.
And the hope is, I'm a little bit familiar with the program, but the hope is twofold. One is that people will learn about the community. So about a third to half are usually people who may not have grown up in Auburn, so they don't have a birth certificate that says Auburn Community Hospital or Memorial Hospital. So it's to have them learn a little bit. But the other component, which is important to you and your membership, is to have them serve on other boards.
Yes,
so that
absolutely.
You keep a list of people who have interest, whether it's in the arts or education or someplace. And so a not-for-profit or a board can come to you and say, listen, I'm looking for somebody, I'm on this arts organization. Give me everybody who's interested in the arts. Doesn't mean that they'll necessarily get on those boards.
Yep.
But you perform that service for a networking.
Yes.
For connector as well.
Absolutely. So every year as our class graduates, I ask them what their interests are. And it's twofold. So there's a general interest, like I'm interested in arts and culture or sports and recreation. And then also we ask a list of organizations. So I'm specifically interested in the Schweinfurth, or I'm specifically interested in Auburn Sports Boosters. And so they can check those off, and then I keep a database. And as organizations come to me, I give out their email addresses.
And you've been doing this for 4.5, 5 years now. Yeah. So do a lot of your grads end up on boards?
I do think so. Yeah, I certainly give out a lot of names. And it seems like they're getting more involved in the community. I'm seeing them more around town, so that's usually a good sign.
So the Chamber does a couple of other things that I want to talk about for the next couple of minutes. I said almost every other month. So after you get through your May event, May 11th, for your awards, I'm thinking golf is next.
It is. We have our Chamber golf tournament this year. It's on June 16th. It's on a Friday at Dutch Hollow. So we'll be opening up that sometime, usually in April, once the weather starts looking like you can go golfing, and that's always a
well, up until 2 days ago, it did look right. Now you might lose your ball somewhere.
Yeah.
So
that was the one event that we continued to have through COVID because it was outside and we just had.
So how many teams do you usually field?
We usually get between 20 and 25 teams, which is.
How much does it cost to participate?
It's about, I think, $420 a team.
Okay, and that comes with golfing. Is there a?
There's lunch on the course, which is usually a hamburger or hot dog, and then we did go back to having a banquet last year. So we did have a buffet dinner, and then we give out the awards for the winners of the various, things that we have. And usually it's wrapped up about 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon.
So Chamber members usually are the registrant,
yes.
But you don't have to be a Chamber member if you can find somebody who's gracious enough to have you join their team.
And there are some of our Chamber members that get non-members that come. And sometimes that leads to other conversations about why am I not a member?
Okay. And then again, let's scoot from June. I'm thinking August is clam bake time.
That's correct. We have not set that date yet. Once Yager Brook opens for the season, we will set that date. And this year we're actually looking to combine it with the Skaneateles Chamber. So I'm going to meet up with Hillary Fenner over in Skaneateles this week, and we're going to have some conversations about combining that. And
then ending the year, besides your holiday or Christmas party, which is for Chamber members only for the most part, you do a large event at the Pavilion.
We do. It's our annual dinner, and that's usually end of September, early October, and we have it at the Emerson Park Pavilion. A&M Catering does a great job. It's the only place we can have it right now because of the number of people.
Well, it's 250 to 300 people show up for this event.
Right. Pre-COVID, we got up to 336.
Okay.
Last year, we were at 250.
Can you tell that was your job?
Yeah.
So still planning to do Pavilion again. So you've kind of gotten away, though, from that event while you do a couple of awards, you've gotten away from speakers. Is
We-
that the trend now?
We found it for our event to be the trend. That was, we always battled to kind of shush the crowd, to be mindful of the speaker. And you get over 300 people in a room, they want to have a conversation.
Right.
And so we battled it for a while, and then my annual dinner committee and some of my board said, maybe we should not do the speaker.
So a couple thank yous for people you elect new board members, you rotate some board members off, and you usually give out one award that.
We give the chair's award out at that, and that's voted on by our chamber board. We also do recognize milestones for people.
Organization's been 100 years.
Yes, I mean, this year, for example, we have New Hope Mills, that's 200. We have Camp Ayahuasca, that's 100. Nash's Framing, 50. We have a number of awards this year, so we recognize them at the dinner as well, and we reach out to them to let them know that we will acknowledge them if they can have somebody.
2 or 3 years ago,
attendance.
you had Camerons, and I know they provided.
They did
delicacies.
the desserts
They
last.
did
They did them last year too.
2 other quick items that I think fall under one of them falls under your purview, and that's the Finger Lakes Grants Information Center at 2 State Street. What is that?
So the Finger Lakes Grants Information Center is where you can get more information about the foundation directory online. It's a subscription service that we bring in. You can search, a nonprofit can search foundations across the country with keywords that might be similar to what you're trying to search to bring money into Cayuga County.
So that's on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a room for that that's designated that. Is there a cost to doing that?
No, it is absolutely free.
And so the type of information may be how to apply to the French MedCaf Columbia. I could leave somebody out, Alan, whoever, or it could be the Ford Foundation.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you keep a record of how successful people are?
I try and keep in touch with people anecdotally, but I don't have specific, what was awarded.
And the other item that you do, and I know there might not necessarily be something planned right now, but you also do educational programs separate from everything else we talked about.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So how do those germinate?
So we like to bring in our member businesses and have them talk about what their specialty is. So it could be marketing, it could be about accounting. They're usually business topics, and as a way to help our members get those educational components to bring themselves to the next level.
Do you still do business after 5?
We do. We have one coming up March 28th. It's at the Schweinfurth Art Center.
And so what is a business after 5?
Business after 5, what it is you need to be a chamber member to host it. And it's a great way to get people into your organization or business. They run from 5 to 7. We ask that you pre-register. We open up registration like we do for all our other events. And it's just a great way to come in with the Schweinfurth. I'm sure they're going to highlight some new displays and some things.
Does it cost to attend?
If you're a market access member or above, it does not. If you're a basic member, it's $5. Mm-hmm. If you're a non-member, you can attend for $7. Mm-hmm. But it's a great
way. Not going to break the bank.
It's a great way to get people into your organization or business to see what's going on, to see what's new.
And do you do those mostly every month?
We do them every month. I think in April, the Potter's Farm and Fork, which is the old Brenda's Diner in Port Byron, they did a lot of renovation there. So Brian's going to host an event in April.
So they're not always Auburn-centric. They're all around. Because the chamber does serve all of Cayuga County. We do. Well, I want to thank Amy Fuller. First of all, congratulations again on your new job, what you've been promoted to, as well as Jessica Wrench for talking about Leadership Cayuga and what's going on there. We'd love to have you back in to talk about other items that are going on in the chamber in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We will be back on Thursday with 2 back-to-back shows. The first one is Inside Government with Assembly Minority Leader Will Barkley, who through redistricting back in 2020 and 2021 now represents parts of northern Cayuga County. We'll then have the head of this department, telecom, here at the college, Professor Steve Keeler, in the studio to give us an update on what is going on in telecom programming, as well as changes that are also occurring, as well as what our students are working on here at Cayuga Community College. In the coming weeks, we have a number of guests. As I've mentioned, Senator Rachel May will be here next week, as well as Assemblyman John Lamondis on Tuesday. Then we'll also have in the studio Cayuga County Legislative Chairman David Gould, Cayuga County District Attorney Brittany Antonacci, the new head of the Cayuga Economic Development Agency, as well as representatives from St. Peter and Paul Ukrainian Church. Film director Locke Phillips will be here talking about a film that he's done about Utica. And of course, we'll have Cayuga County President Brian Durant here in the studio as well. We'd like to let you know that you can send us your questions or thoughts by emailing us at cozguytho@aol.com. Give us your ideas for future guests or questions you want those guests to answer. We'll ask them on the air. But in the meantime, I'm Guy Cosentino for Cayuga Community College. I want to thank you for watching. Have a good night, and we will see you back here on Thursday evening.